How are you guys doing today? My name is Crider and I make entrepreneurship, personal finance, and social media business model videos here on YouTube. And today what we're talking about is hiring your first employee. And this is something that I actually just did for my social media management agency that I run. I just hired my first employee a couple weeks ago. So I got a couple questions about it and I thought it'd be pretty a good idea to share with you guys what I learned from this experience, because it's definitely been a learning experience and it still is a learning experience for me, but I do want to share with you guys what I have learned already and what I'm still in the process of learning, so that when you are ready to hire your first employee, you can do it the right way and not make some of the mistakes that I made and not go through some of the struggles that I have gone through. So first of all, what is my story? Why did I hire somebody? What's my business? So essentially what I do is I run social media accounts for online influencers, people who are making a significant amount of money online. I step in and take over their Instagram, Facebook, whatever, so that they can spend more time focusing on the things that directly bring them value and directly bring them income. What I'm doing is building up this Instagram, Facebook, whatever platform on the side so that it can drive traffic to their main platform. Usually it's YouTube or a blog or a podcast. And what I'm doing is I'm building Instagram on the side, because Instagram, it's a business tool. In 2018, Instagram is a business tool. So I'm building it on the side for them because that's something that's easily sort of outsourced, okay? They can easily take Instagram off their plate. It's not something that they need to be doing. What they need to be doing is creating courses, podcasts, blogs, YouTube videos, whatever, okay? So I'm taking that off their plate. That's my business. And currently I have about 3 or 4 clients that are paying me every single week. And I do this service for them every single week and I get paid for that. So why would you hire somebody in the first place? Why is it necessary? Why would you take somebody else on? Isn't that just more work, more responsibility, more people that you're responsible for? And really what it comes down to is whether or not you want to scale your business. Because if you want to scale your business, you have to take things off of your plate, okay? Because there's only so much you can do in a day. There's only 24 hours that you have in a day. So if you want to do more, if you want to take on more clients, if you want to do more work, if you want to accomplish more, you either have to find ways to automate things, and that can be through either hiring people or through setting up systems online. And I prefer to do a combination of the two, but I find there's some things that it's much easier to find a person to do it, especially because I'm not super tech savvy. I've taken a couple programming classes here at school, but I'm not the most advanced programmer. So for me, what it's easier to do is I'm more of a people person. It's easier for me to find somebody that I can work with to help me do things that I'm not so good at, or things that I don't need to be spending my time on, than it is to set up systems to do that. So I have some systems set up, but primarily I am focused on finding contractors, and in this case, employees. And a quick distinction here between the way I use contractor and the way I use employee. Employee is somebody who I'm paying every single week to do the same or a similar task, whereas when I say contractor, I mean somebody who I'm paying to do a certain task either one time, maybe I pay them a couple times, but an employee to me is somebody who's doing the same or similar things every single week, and I am paying them for that service every single week. So that's what I'm saying here. I've hired multiple contractors in the past, primarily to create pieces of social media content, whether those be video or picture content, but this is the first time that I've actually hired an employee. So what should they do? When you hire an employee, what should they be doing for you? Well, eventually, pretty much everything. Because a true business owner really just looks down from the top, makes sure everything is going all right, and directs the company, the business, in whatever direction that they feel it should go. So at the end of the day, my goal is to have everything off of my plate except for the big picture stuff and probably client acquisition, because that's something that's not super easily automated. It sort of takes time to build relationships with clients. So for me, I think it still makes sense for me to do that. But as far as the management, the content creation, all of that stuff goes, I think it definitely makes sense to outsource as much of that as possible and hire as many people as possible to take that off of my plate so I can focus on the things that are growing the business. Because I don't want to be working in the business, I want to be working on the business, okay? That's a key distinction to make, working on the business instead of in the business. Definitely internalize that if you have not already. Now, how much should you be paying these people? Okay, this is a big source of controversy, especially online when you're hiring people that maybe you don't have direct contact with, okay? Maybe you have never met these people. Maybe you don't know about their backstory, okay? in that case, it can be really easy for you to think, okay, what's the lowest amount that I can get away with paying this person? And for me, that's just not the way I want to do business, okay? I want to create a business where I am paying my employees what I feel that they are worth, if not more than that, because I'm focused on sort of building up a good, it's not really company culture, but just a good relationship with the people that I choose to bring on board into my business, okay? So for me, my philosophy is not to pay somebody as little as I can to get them to say yes. My philosophy is to pay somebody what I feel that they're worth and what I feel that they are bringing to the table. I want to justly compensate them for that, okay? So I understand that they are people too, that they are trying to make a living as well. So I'm gonna compensate people fairly for what they are doing for me. Now, a couple quick do's and don'ts of hiring your first employee that I have learned firsthand. So as far as do's go, the first do, and this is essential, guys, this is where I really screwed up, and this is where I think you guys have the most potential to really make a good hiring decision, okay? The first one is to set clear expectations and enforce them, okay? So you have to tell this person from the get exactly what you expect of them, okay? You need to have clear metrics, clear dates, and clear signs of whether or not that task was achieved by that date. So you say, I want X done by Y date, and Z will be the sort of proof that you accomplished what you were supposed to accomplish, okay? So there need to be clear expectations of what you are expecting of them, because if there are not clear expectations, then it's impossible for them to be on the same page as you, and it's impossible for them to do a good job in your eyes, because they don't even know what that means. They don't know what it means to do a good job if you haven't clearly established that, and if you haven't clearly established what your expectations of them are going to be moving forward, okay? So that is so big. I didn't do this with my contractors. I haven't done this with business partners, and it has just led to so much more trouble than it needed to. So with my employee, I feel like I've done a pretty good job of this. Another do is be organized, okay? Because going off of that, I've been more or less able to clearly establish the guidelines and the expectations that I have for this employee, but I'm not the most organized person when it comes to sort of handing things off, because, and another thing that I'm gonna say here is, it's very important to document everything you do in your business from the get, because if you do that, it's gonna be so much easier to bring somebody on, because you already have every single step that they are going to need to take written down. And even better would be to screen record your screen while you are doing your business tasks, because then when you hire somebody, you can send them this video, you can say, watch this video, it'll show you exactly what you're supposed to do. There will be no questions, maybe a couple questions, but like no ambiguity in what you're asking from them, because even when you have like written explanations, there can be some ambiguity in there, especially if they're not from the same country as you, if they're not speaking the same language as you primarily. That can be tricky. For me, I hired somebody in the US, so that wasn't an issue for me, but I can imagine, and some of my contractors have been international, so it's very critical that you record everything that you're doing in your business, because if you don't, then there's a ton of ambiguity in there, and they don't even know if they're doing a good job by your standards, because you haven't established what your standards actually are, okay? And the big don't here is, don't treat them like trash, okay guys? There's so many people who just see their employee as a paycheck that they have to write every single week, or as a number in their books, or whatever, and it's really key to see these people as people, okay? Like, it should be straightforward, but so many people get caught up in the idea of like, okay, this person's working for me, they're gonna do whatever, and I'm gonna pay them whatever, and that's all there is to it. But treat them like an actual human being. Like, sit down and have a conversation once in a while. Ask them how their day is going. Like, realize that this is a person too. They have a life. They are just trying to get by as much as you are. So take the time to actually engage with them, actually make them feel like an actual human being, and don't just make them feel like you are just they're just part of your system, or just like part of the machine that you're building, okay? So that's really big, is just to lay down that groundwork, lay down those expectations, and lay down everything so there's no ambiguity there, and then also treat them like a real human being, okay guys? So final thoughts here. as far as hiring your first employee, it is essential to do at some point if you are actually trying to build a business that scales, because unless you're a whiz computer programmer and your entire business revolves around online and you can just automate everything that way, there's going to be times where you need an actual human being in there to take over these tasks that you no longer want to do, that no longer make sense for you to do. So that's really why you do need to think about hiring an employee at some point. Again, don't get into this too soon. Don't think, oh, I made my first $100 online, I gotta hire an employee now. That's not the way you should be thinking about things. You need to make sure that you can afford an employee and make sure that it is actually something that you should be investing money into, because if you are not making enough money to hire an employee, then you're not making enough money to hire an employee, guys, okay? It's that simple. So just make sure that you wait a little bit until you have an actual established business that is bringing in consistent revenue every single month, and then you can think about hiring an employee, bringing somebody on, and making sure you do it the right way. Guys, thank you very much for sticking around and watching the entire video. If you made it till the end, thank you so much, and please do consider subscribing down below. It would mean a ton to me. Also, let me know what you guys thought of this new camera setup. So we've got the new camera, the new mic, we've got a second camera over here. So we're really just changing it up, seeing what we can do with this. So definitely let me know what you thought. Also, is the lighting decent? We're just using natural light for this, so I'm not really sure how it's going to turn out, but who knows. Also, I have a free course that I just created in the description below. It's sort of about how to start your own agency, the same business model that I am using, that I hired my first employee for. It's called Social Media Management Masterclass, and it's 3-part training. Links in the description below. It's completely free to sign up for, so definitely head down there if you want to check that out at all. Anyways, guys, my name has been Apple Crider. I make videos 3 to 5 times a week here on YouTube. I host a podcast over on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all those good places, called Young Smart Money, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've got a free video training in the description below on how to start your own social media management agency. Check it out.